Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of I Don't Have the Answers, but let's talk about it anyway. I'm your host, Tim Four, and today we're joined by my friend Mike Rodriguez. Hey, Mike.
Series regular.
Series
Hey,
regular.
Tim.
It's just going to be his show from now on. I'm just going to be the co-host. Today's episode is going to be a little bit, little heavy, but something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I'm glad I have the opportunity to do it with Mike. I don't know about everybody else out there, but there's always a time that you don't know what you're going to say, and nothing quite epitomizes that as when a friend of yours happens to get some bad news from a doctor. When they get a diagnosis that's not, oh, you have a cold, it's, oh, you have something that you're going to have forever. And for me, I'm always the kind of person that wants to help, wants to do something, but I don't know what to say. So today, I want to talk about things to say, things you can do, and things that you shouldn't say or do when you're faced with those situations. And the reason why I want to talk about this, Mike, he's going to talk about it a little bit himself because I don't want to share his business. But he's got his own illnesses that he deals with. And the reason why I want to talk about it is back when my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer, I had no idea what to do or to say. It was tough for me. And I knew that the first thing I wanted to do was just grab him, wrap him up in a big hug, and just be there for him. But not knowing what to say and how to say it, where do you start? I mean, how old were you when you first
Found out?
found out?
27.
27.
But I was diagnosed yet, and when they diagnosed me, they said that I probably had it and been dealing with it for quite some time prior to that. So, full disclosure, so I also have cancer. I have a form of leukemia. I'm not going to get into the whole specifics and stuff like that. Just call it leukemia because it is what it is. Never really going to go away. It's something that will be there. I was in remission, came out of remission, went back into remission, and now I am officially out of remission again. So.
And it's kind of a heavy subject, but it affects, I believe the statistics are 1 in 5 people have somebody that's either directly related to them, or they work with them, or they've come in contact with somebody with cancer. And everybody always goes through a list of things that they say, oh, we wish you the best, or let me know if there's anything I can do.
That's the number one thing that's generally said.
And the thing is that with my grandfather, I was talking to him, and I had a frank conversation with him, and he says, that is the one thing he wished that everybody would stop saying.
I agree.
Because regardless of how well you know somebody, you're not going to say what you need or say what you want because you feel like you're going to be a burden. He says, I would much rather someone say, hey, I'm going to come over and mow your grass for you on Friday. Because it's at least something.
If I'm going to be frank myself, it is something that you just get tired of people saying. No, I'm not taking any offense. No, I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just I know that that's common courtesy to say that type of stuff. But those are just words. They don't hit the same. And sometimes, like me being someone that's very psychologically driven and analytical, and the way that I read people, you know when someone means it and someone's just saying it to say it.
Exactly.
So it actually kind of hurts sometimes, as opposed to helping when someone tells you, I wish there was something, let me know if there's something that I can do. To me, the best thing is to do something. Say, like exactly how you said, like, hey, I'm going to be there. Or like for me, I've been dealing with it as you've known me for, I had someone that used to take care of me pretty much through every single treatment that I had. Amazing person, was always there for me. I would go in to treatment, they'd be ready, and I'd have an amazing pillow fort I'd have movies at the ready to watch or something. They were just always there, like no matter what. Like, and knowing that I would be able to go home to this person on a regular basis, you know, always made me feel safe and made me feel right. Recently, that is no longer the case, and actually, these most recent treatments have been different in a sense. So, because I'm not doing it by myself, but I'm not going home to that, to what I'm so used to the pillow forts and the head rubs and the movies and the someone that will make the things that you know that you can do or know what to look for. Still have a great support group. My family is there, and you know I got Tim,
Yeah.
who took it upon himself to make sure that I was fed this last time, when it was probably one of the rougher times that I've had actually missed quite a bit of work. I hadn't had to do that for a while this last set of treatments, so would always check in. And that's another thing that's big for me, like checking in. It's one thing to say you're sorry or let me know if there's something that you can do, but if you're not checking in, then you obviously, I mean, to me, you don't care as much as you're saying you care about. But during that time, I'm kind of sidetracking myself. But during that time, you know, when this person was there for me, like I always knew which friends or those close to me really meant what they said because they take the time to come and visit, or they come and watch movies with me and then just cheer me up. They bring me food. They come to just talk to me. They knew that I wasn't in the best of places and probably looked like I was a big wreck, and then like looked like I was half dead or you know couldn't move. But like they were there. Can I help you move this, that, or whatever? Don't get up. Look, I brought you this. I did that. That's something that you and Sharon were really good about, in the sense that you're like, well, we didn't come to see you because we didn't want to get you sick, because we have a little boy who can possibly be bringing all sorts of extra diseases your way. And you know, and you're like, for me, my immune system is always pretty shot. So like, it sucks because I have 3 nephews who I would love to have around me, but I can't be anywhere around me whenever I'm going through this stuff. So, so basically, like for me, like it's more of what you do, not what you say.
Yeah. About 2 years ago, I think you mentioned it one time, and it really hit me. When people say, "I'm here if you need us," if you say that, mean it. Follow through. Don't just say, "I'll be there for you if you need me for anything." Actually do it. Actually show up. Knowing you enough and being there and listening enough, I can tell when it's time to come over. Pay attention to the people that mean the most to you and feel things out. Like he said, action means a lot more than words and platitudes. Sometimes you got to know your audience. I know that there's sometimes some people that saying the phrase, "we'll pray for you," it might work and it might be something that makes you feel better, but other people it's like, "That's nice, but I still got a lot of laundry I need help with, so I mean, can you help with laundry instead?" Not saying you need to wash clothes. He does it. It's okay. But it's a heavy subject, and knowing how to talk to someone about that, it means a lot, because within the sheer number of people out there that are affected by cancer in one form or another, or by an illness, whether it's chronic or not, it's hard knowing what you should or shouldn't say. So
Yeah, something that's lost in this, and this is where I get a little deeper, so is what going through this and what others go through when they're going through this is how it affects you mentally and inside. A lot of people don't understand that. They just look at you from the outside, and I'm one that likes to hide a lot of my pain inside because I don't want people to feel bad for me, because I've always been that way. Tim would be the first one to tell you, and anybody that's been around me, those that took care of me, and those, like, I try to hide my pain. But the problem with that is that you internalize a lot of things and you don't realize that that's hurting the people on the outside. you do go through some bits of depression. When I was first diagnosed, I was definitely very depressed. Again, the person that I was with really got me out of a lot of that stuff, and and then the joy of hearing. When I was first diagnosed, I was told that I was not supposed to live beyond 3 years.
I appreciate you not listening to that.
And here we are, 7 years beyond that mark, and I'm still here. When they first told me that I was in remission 4 years into being diagnosed, that was like the happiest day of my life. It made me. You get depressed in a different way because you're like, I was able to fight it, and I was able to get through all that stuff. And then I felt like I was a lot more my normal self and the person that I was prior to being diagnosed. In that time, I was able to experience things, and my life just like turned into like I ended up proposing and getting married and all that stuff after this, and it was awesome. And then I was out of remission again, and that hit me so hard. And I don't think people read the signs like very well when people are going through stuff. Sometimes that's
Pay attention to your friends.
You need to understand that your friends need you in different ways. And I'm one that people used to tell me like, why do you post things about like your personal stuff and how you're feeling like inside on social media? Nobody should. Like, because I think people should know.
Mm-hmm.
And people sometimes just read that stuff and they're just like, hey. And some people just glance at it and don't even care, but not even realizing that you're going through some really, really tough stuff. And I was going through a lot of stuff, and I had someone that was trying to be there for me, but I was pushing them away because I felt like I needed to deal with it internally myself first, which was stupid. But I didn't know why, after fighting so hard and still doing everything the right way, why I came out of remission again. And I was closed off, and the fact that nobody was really, other than the person that I was with and a handful of others, was actually even seeing the signs and realizing that I was spiraling in the wrong direction, and was actually so angry, and nobody was actually catching on to that. It sucked. It could have, a lot of people could have gotten me out of it, if they just would have been paying attention. And that's one thing that people lack, and don't understand, like, when what someone is going through.
I think that so much nowadays that they're scrolling through their friends' lives instead of paying attention to the subtle context and the words that are said and how they're said. If we're not in the mood to feel that, we just scroll on past and click on the next story. And it's one of the downsides of social media, in a way it is that you don't get the intonations that a conversation would have. You mentioned earlier that there's a lot of emotion that's missed in a text message. There's a lot of context that's missed in a text message, and I think that so much of our life is missed because we're only getting it in 20 words at a time, or however many tweets and Facebook posts and Instagram messages, instead of taking the time to really communicate with one another. So the purpose behind today's episode is to help people know what the signs are and what they should do in these situations. First and foremost, pay attention. If you know your friends, truly know them, you know when they're feeling a little off. You know when their behavior patterns change. That's when you need to stop scrolling and actually pay attention and focus and have a conversation. And if you know them the right way, make chicken soup. Show up at their door and drop off. I think it was a gallon of chicken soup that I made that time. It was a lot. But it's those little things. You don't have to make grand gestures. Just you know your friends and you know what it takes.
Read between the lines, guys. Like, sometimes people are reaching out to you in their own way, and I'm not one to really hide behind words. I pretty much put what I'm talking about out there, and I'm not the only one. Sometimes just people want other people to know. You always feel like, hey, you know, I wonder how so and so's doing. Well, when someone's actually telling you, how come you're not doing it? Like, I mean, that's what you wanted to know.
Exactly.
Is it too heavy? And I know a lot of people can't deal with like they don't know how to interact with somebody. Like I lost a lot of friends when I was first diagnosed because people don't know how to deal with people that are sick. Um, I was lucky to find someone that wanted to be with me for as long as they did while I was sick because I feel like I'm a broken toy and I'm never going to be 100% of myself for someone. And it's always hard thinking that is someone ever going to accept you for that? Our friends, when they find out about that, what are they going to say? Because I know what it did when I was first diagnosed. I stopped talking to a lot of people because they just didn't want to talk to me anymore. Because it didn't make me a different person. Didn't I still think that I'm pretty charismatic for the most part and stuff. It's when I'm not charismatic when people need to start like worrying like what's going on with that guy. Because like normally I draw people in. I don't push people away. So if I'm pushing you away, that's a sign.
Now, I do have a question. I mean, I know that there are some people out there that this will appeal to, and this will hit right on the head. If your friend, one of your friends, were to come up to you and say, "Look, man, I respect you and I understand that you're going through something, but I have no idea how to act, and I don't know how I should respond." Would that be something that you'd be willing to at least engage with them and say, "Look, I appreciate you taking the time to at least honor me enough to say that"? I mean, it's not unheard of for people to be uncomfortable. I just wanted to know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would spark up some sort of conversation that needs to be had anyway, and I feel like we find some sort of mutual bound, like, you know, where that maybe they can approach you now in a different way, maybe in a way that they didn't know that they can approach you before because they may not have known how to talk about it. But sometimes people just don't know you and how what you're dealing with, and maybe through talking it out, they can be more of a help to you or know more about the situation. You know, a lot of people don't even ask me like you know, okay, so they know that I have treatment, so no one's like, okay, well, so how was treatment? What did you go through? What are your things? Like, how are you feeling? You know, what kind of symptoms? What should I be looking for? Like, my friends know I'm sick. Like a lot of people know I'm sick, but does anybody know what to look for when I'm sick? I can tell you. I can tell you right now. If I'm spitting up blood, that's not good.
no, probably not a
If
good
blood's
thing.
coming from anywhere, that's not good.
It's supposed to stay inside.
Yeah. You know, if I look like I'm gonna pass out because I turn into like a white color, probably not good. There are a lot of things like, you know, if I'm walking like I'm in a lot of pain because I hide a lot of pain, so if you can noticeably see me in pain, that's not a good sign.
So it all boils down to making sure that you're talking and you know your friends, your family members, your loved ones, and that you pay attention to them. I've said it 2 or 3 times already. Pay attention. It's not just something you can just pass through. And be honest. There used to be a saying that was commonplace that honesty is the best policy. I remember getting told that when I was younger many, many times as I was lying to get out of trouble. But it's if you're honest with your friends and you're honest with your family and you honestly say, look, I don't understand what you're going through. Can you tell me?
And that works both ways, because I feel like if you're the one with it, you got to be honest with your friends too. Like, yeah, I hide a lot of stuff, but you know, now I'm a lot more open about it. Before I felt like I was keeping a lot from my friends or my family and stuff like that, and I think I'm a lot more open to talk about a lot of that stuff now.
Yeah, I don't think this conversation would have happened 3 years ago.
No,
Probably
probably
not.
not. But like I want to be able to, you know, my life has changed a lot, and I feel like people need to understand what it is. And I think those of you that have family or friends that are dealing with stuff, you know, and if you really care about that person, you really should take the time to really get to know them. Like someone like me, I always used to, I touch on this every so often, like I get really emotional about it, and I'm going to try and control myself here. Like, when you're gone, what are they going to remember you for?
I've got things on the wall that I'll remember you for.
I don't know. But like, you know, did you ever take the time to find out that they were like what they were going through, or if they're hurting now, or if, they still need help or anything like that. Were they an impact in your life? I try to be.
You are.
A lot of people think whatever this, that, or whatever, but I don't think a lot of people take the time to get to know me and understand me. They just see this facade on the outside, but don't know what I deal with on the inside. So it's easy to judge somebody. It's easy to judge a lot of people when you don't really know them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that people need to get away from. I did that too in the past. I don't do that anymore though. You have to go through a lot of the stuff that you go through before, like may open your eyes and stuff. A lot. Being sick does bad stuff and does good stuff. I feel like I have a relationship with my father and my sister, and my sister from a different thing that happened, but my father, me getting sick brought me and my father closer together because we never really had a close relationship growing up. I mean, we were constantly butting heads, pretty much my entire lifetime. And then I got sick, and that really brought us closer together. Then he got sick, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and that just even more so connected that bond between the two of us. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to see, my father the way that he is now. A lot of people would be like a little too late for that, but not me. Like it's nice to have my dad and someone that actually cares about what I'm going through and now wants to be there whenever I need him, and when that was something that was lacking for some of my lifetime. So,
And if anybody takes anything away from this whole episode, I want it to be that open communication is the key. Knowing where you're going, what you're going through, and how to react and what to say, those are all great. But paying attention and communicating to each other and being willing to have those conversations is priceless, because tomorrow is not a guarantee. Today is all you have that you can bank on. Take the time to spend today as powerfully as you can.
actions are bigger than words, guys.
Definitely. I know that this has been a heavy episode, and it was intended to be.
And I was good because I didn't cry once. I was crying more thinking about this episode than I was knowing what I was going to talk about than I actually doing it. So I'm proud of myself.
If you have any questions for Mike or myself, please, any way that you can just click on the buttons below the video, or in any way that you've got to this video or to listening to the show, there's ways to communicate with us. I'm also going to have a couple of different websites on support groups, because you might not feel comfortable talking to your friend that's sick, but there's a group out there that will help support you and help you get to that point. Or you might be sick and not have any idea on how to talk to your friends or your family about it. But I'll have those listed for you. I don't have the answers to this one. I honestly don't. But as you can see, I will talk about it. And I'll talk about it to you in any way, shape, or form you can come to me. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great day.